Is there or isn't there anything that must happen before Jesus Christ can return? Put another way, is it possible that Christ can come within the next minute? First of all, let's take a look at what Jesus himself said about his return. In Matthew 24, verse 36, he said, "But of that day and hour no one knows." Are we to assume that not knowing the precise time of Christ's return means he can come at any moment? He said, "that day and hour." Jesus was referring to something he had just talked about. In verse 29 through 31, he said, "Immediately after the tribulation, they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds, and his angels will gather together his elect." Jesus gives absolutely no hint of coming before the tribulation. He states very plainly he will come after the tribulation. Look at what he then said 2 verses later. "When you see all these things, know that it is near, at the doors." Christ says here his followers are to see certain things before he comes. What are all these things that forewarn of his coming, showing it would be possible to know that it is near? He had just told about end-time events, including the tribulation. This can only mean when the tribulation is underway, then those watching will know his return is impending. Jesus continues in verse 42, "Watch therefore, for you do not know what hour your Lord is coming." Based on what he has said so far, we are to watch and be alert to events of the end time because we do not know the precise time of the return of Christ, but we do know it will be right after a period of tribulation because he said so. Take a look at this. In John 21 verse 18, Jesus said to Peter, one of his disciples, "When you grow old, you will stretch out your hands." John says in the next verse, "Now he said this, signifying by what kind of death he would glorify God." So Peter would grow old and be put to death. History tells us he was crucified. My question is, since Jesus' words about his coming could not mean imminence before the death of Peter, how could the same words mean imminence afterwards? Let's now turn to the Apostle Paul. In 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 2 we read, "The day of the Lord so comes as a thief in the night." Does the imagery of a thief mean Christ's coming is imminent? Reading on, verses 4 and 6 say, "But you, brethren, are not in darkness, so that this day should overtake you as a thief. Let us watch and be sober." We understand that the coming of the Lord on his day will take the world by surprise, but it is not supposed to come unexpectedly on those of us who watch. Why? Because it will be possible to recognize the time, as Jesus said. Now notice what Jesus says in Revelation 16 verse 15. "Behold, I am coming as a thief. Blessed is he who watches." This is stated at the very end of the tribulation. Jesus coming as a thief is therefore not about imminence, neither does it involve secrecy. It's about suddenness. He will come suddenly right after a period of tribulation. For those who do not watch, the coming of Christ will be as unexpected as a thief. He says in Revelation 3 verse 3, "If you will not watch, you will not know what hour I will come." The opposite is also true, otherwise there is no point in what Jesus says. Those who watch will know when Christ will come. They will know from the signs Christ gave where they are in the end time, and when the tribulation arrives, they will know when to expect Christ to come. Jesus said in Matthew 24, verse 43, concerning his coming, "But know this, that if the master of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched." Jesus' teaching about the time of his return can be condensed to this: because we do not know, we are to watch, and when we watch, we will know. So, is imminence a true doctrine? Can Christ come within the next minute? Because of what Scripture says, the answer is no. Therefore, imminence is a blatant deception.